possible. I know it can be kind of awkward when you are talking over one another, so we're just going to use that as our primary method of communication. And let me know if I need to speak louder or anything at any point. I mentioned this, but our office is really busy right now because of career fair season. So we have a lot of students out there and they're all chatting. So I will do my best to make sure you could hear me. So for those of you that I haven't met yet, my name is Mallory Stoffel. I'm the coordinator for the Career Readiness Center here in the College of Business. Just a little bit of background about me. I'm a College of Business alum. Actually, I graduated in 2011 with a concentration in entrepreneurship. I think there are a few coaches in the program that graduated right around the same time I did, so I'm sure we had a class or two together. I went back to school after a few years, got my master's degree, and started working on campus as a career counselor, and started in this role within the Career Readiness Center in the College of Business last November. So I'm approaching my 1-year anniversary, so relatively new in my role. But for those of you, I think for most of us that are alum that are on this call, the Career Readiness Center probably didn't exist while you were here. So just a quick overview for those of you that aren't familiar, the Career Readiness Center has a couple of different components, but the main being that we do career peer advising. So just like we have peer advising for academic support, we have 9 career peer advisors that meet one-on-one with students to help them navigate the job and internship search process, resume review, cover letter, interview prep, all of those great things. So they are absolutely incredible. A lot of them have had really great positions themselves, and that's kind of what happens out of our office. We have the career coaching program, and then we also do career-related workshops and events. So this really tailored to business students in particular. So it's a really great addition to the College of Business. And one of the things that's been my mission since I started in this role is understanding the limitations that we have with career coaching and career advising, career counseling. There is one of me and one professional staff in this office and a lot of business students. I think we have around 3,000. So I am continuously wanting to find ways to scale our services so that we can better support all students in the College of Business, knowing that I can't do that alone. So that's really one of kind of the things I'm working on is how do we support more students? And the career coaching program is absolutely integral to that mission, and I cannot express enough how thankful I am for all of you dedicating your time and energy to helping share this information that students really need to know about navigating the career job search, internship search process. And we have, just to kind of update you on the program, we have about 64 active career coaches this year, which is really great. I'm really excited about that number. I feel like it's perfect for piloting this new software. But then we also have a couple of coaches that are taking the year off because they are already mentoring folks. So we have about 70 coaches in the program. So I'm really, really excited about that and hoping that we'll be able to serve about 100 students this year through the program. So one quick thing that I want to just reiterate to you is that I am your resource. I am here to support you because I have a background in career counseling and just career development. If you have any questions, you need resources, if your student is encountering questions that you aren't sure how to answer, or you want a refresher on career readiness topics, then I would love to chat with you. So please, as you're going through this process and meeting with your students, please reach out to me if you need any resources. I'll be doing my best. I'll show you kind of what will be involved with the software, but then also just know that I'm always open to chat with you if you need some strategies or other things. All right, I'm just going to admit a couple folks. Okay, so let's get started. I definitely communicated some of this via email, but I want to make sure I just cover it briefly in this webinar. So overview of the program. So the career coaching program is new this year, but it really is the byproduct of 2 separate career mentoring programs that we had in the College of Business. One was the Executive Partner Program, which wasn't necessarily an alumni mentoring program, but it was for namely a number of members in the local community who were in executive or senior level roles that wanted to give back and help coach business students and mentor business students. And then we had a second mentoring program, which was called the Young Alumni Mentoring Program. And that was really a really great program. It was started a few years ago by a couple of my colleagues, and really to help reduce some of the intimidation that comes with being a mentee as a student and connect with those who recently went through the internship search process. They remember what it was like to be searching for your full-time career. So we really wanted to have an approachable mentoring program for maybe some younger students, so second or third year students. In the last year, someone was coordinating, Kathy Wright was coordinating the Executive Partner Program. She was volunteering her time. She did an incredible job. So she decided in this last year to take a step back. Hold on, I'm going to admit some folks in here. And the Executive Partner Program is now overseen by my office. So I felt like after talking to some students and getting feedback, it was a little confusing to have two separate career mentoring programs. So I decided to combine them into one, where students have the opportunity to select whether they want to be paired with a young alumni or an executive partner. So really we're streamlining the process and the administrative aspect of it that I oversee, but then really also still trying to preserve the value that each of you bring as a young alumni or as an executive partner. So that was kind of one big update. The other was that I switched the name of the program to the career coaching program, excuse me. And one reason for that was I went to a mentoring conference over the summer, and nationwide they really are moving away from the term mentor because students don't connect with it. I think it's unfortunate. I really want to reclaim the word mentor because I think it's incredibly important for students to have a mentor as they're navigating their career process, their career journey, really. But I felt like after looking at what was really happening within young alumni and executive partners, it felt a lot more like career coaching in that you're working towards goals, it's a shorter time commitment, and then my goal is really that if you are paired with a mentor that you, or with your career coach, then you have the opportunity then to transition that into a mentoring relationship. So mentoring really is longer term. It's really focused on, it's personal, it's relational, and it's hard to force through a formalized program. So that really is the goal with that, is that we're helping students make connections, we're allowing coaches to share insight and perspective, but then we're also hoping that maybe some mentoring relationships will come out of these matches. So that is really kind of the background on some of those changes that we've encountered over the last year. Just to give you a logistical overview of the program and what that'll look like, we also found from our feedback from students was that having a 9-month commitment as part of the program, which was kind of the expectations of the Young Alumni Mentoring Program, was quite long. And so most matches didn't necessarily make it that long. Once that student maybe felt like they had accomplished their goals, or maybe it naturally fizzled out, or sometimes students stopped proactively scheduling appointments or meetings with you all. That was really kind of a main issue with one of the areas, was that the 9-month commitment wasn't realistic. So we changed it to 6 months, but again, one of the things I really valued about the Executive Partner Program was that those mentoring relationships are ongoing and they don't have an end date. So that's something that I want to empower both students and coaches to really do, is if you want to stay in contact past that 6-month mark, that is something that is encouraged but not necessarily expected as part of the program. Other pieces that I want to make sure that you all are aware of. So as part of the 6-month commitment, you will be expected to meet with your student or students, depending on what you are interested in committing to, once per month for 30 to 60 minutes per meeting. And we'll dive into the software and how we'll utilize that, but that really is a kind of the minimum requirement that we're asking for you all to commit to in meeting with your student. That might be the perfect amount. You might find that you want to meet more often than that, and that is totally encouraged and okay, depending on your level of availability and the student's interests and goals. So one of the things that you'll notice as part of the program, and I'll show you in the software, is after chatting with students, a lot of them feel pretty intimidated to navigate a conversation with somebody that they maybe have never met in person before, or maybe they're meeting in person for the first time. Students don't know what to talk about in these meetings, especially when you say, oh, it could be, a 30 to 60-minute meeting. Well, what do I ask? What questions do I need to come prepared with specific questions? How do I have, a really productive conversation? So one thing that we're also incorporating into the program is monthly goals. So through the monthly goals, students will have the opportunity. We've outlined some sample goals for them. So we could say, this month, we encourage you to have your resume reviewed by your career coach, but they also are easily modified by the student or by the coach to fit that student's specific goals. So that is something that we'll be kind of coaching students on how to navigate setting goals with you, and then how to kind of have stuff that they want to talk about and bring to the table. But we want to provide that support for students in if they're feeling a little intimidated by the program, they aren't quite sure what to talk about. We have a little bit more structure as part of the program so that you can feel like you're working towards goals, even if they aren't necessarily sure what those are yet. The one piece about goals is that I think this is probably one of the more important aspects of changes in the program, is that we are going to be requiring a mandatory orientation for students. So we have found that from feedback from you all is that a lot of times students maybe weren't necessarily prepared. They stopped responding to your kind of wanting to connect. Maybe they never reached out to you in the first place, so they were matched with you and they never actually scheduled that first one-on-one meeting. So that's something that we really want to help address, is helping create that buy-in, that students that are signing up for the program, A, have the resources to succeed, but B, are committed. If they're going to show up for a mandatory orientation, walk through the software, talk about how to be a respectful mentee, then chances are they're going to be a little bit more invested in the program in the first place. So that's another update for you all. Any questions about that, feel free to put that into the group chat. So I'm sure a lot of you are kind of curious about the mentoring platform and the software, and that's what we want to spend the most amount of time on today, just because there's a couple of things that I want to make sure you're aware of to help make the process of connecting with your mentee the easiest as possible. So I wanted to make sure you know that as part of signing up for the program through the Career Connections platform, you are signing up for a general Cal Poly wide mentoring platform. And what that means is that unless you indicate otherwise, you will be available for students to connect with across campus and outside of this program. So that's something that I want to make sure that you know you can opt out of participating across this larger platform and still be in the group. But if you also are looking for opportunities to connect with students outside of this formal pairing process, you can participate in a larger platform and be available for students for one-off, this is what the software company is calling flash mentoring. So that's one-on-one appointments that you might have with a student that is like, hey, I see you're in this industry, I had some questions. It's a little bit more transactional, but then also usually just 1 or 2 meetings. So they're calling that flash mentoring. But that's kind of what the purpose of, and what we see here is when you log into Career Connections, you're really seeing the larger campus-wide platform, and then all the things that we'll be doing as part of the Orfalea Career Coaching Program is under the Programs tab. So one thing that I want to walk you through is just signing up on the platform and making it as easy as possible. I understand sometimes it's hard to navigate and just manage another social networking platform or profile. So one of the things that you are able to do, let me add some folks in here. One thing that you are able to do with your profile is you can link it with LinkedIn. And that will auto-populate a lot of your content on your profile. So I have a sample alumni profile here. You can build out your bio, but basically this person linked their LinkedIn account and they they manually populated some of this stuff on their profile. So for the career coaching program, I really want to just make sure that you have a photo, especially for those of you that maybe aren't local and you won't be meeting one-on-one in person with your student. I want to make sure that you have a picture there, and then maybe just a brief bio and a little bit about your current role. What's really nice about this is in previous iterations, we had to keep up on jobs in titles and companies, and a lot of you, especially young alumni, change roles pretty quickly, and so it's really nice that we won't have to, on an administrative side, manage that. That'll just be you keeping your profile up to date. So hopefully that's as easy as possible to set that up. I recommend linking it with your LinkedIn profile. If you have not yet set up your profile, then you'll notice it takes a while for your access to the platform to be approved. That's just because they're going to verify that you are, in fact, an alumni. For those of you that are career coaches that are not alumni, I submitted your names to Career Services, who's overseeing this platform as a whole. So you are pre-approved. So if you have any issues accessing, please let me know, but you should be able to get in there pretty easily because your names were pre-approved through Career Services. So after you've built your profile, one of the things that I want to make sure you know about, as I talked about this kind of privacy piece, is are you interested in connecting with students across the entire platform or just the student that you're paired with in the career coaching program? So if you go to my preferences, over here you can click on your photo icon in the upper right hand corner, then you'll see there are a number of options. So first and foremost, notifications. I would recommend, I think for me personally, I know it's hard to manage, like even just log into LinkedIn frequently and to manage a number of different platforms. So I would recommend setting up some sort of notification so that when somebody does request a meeting with you or when they send you a message, you're getting an email. So that automatically defaults here unless you unsubscribe from all emails on your preferences. But you also can receive a text message if you prefer. Sometimes that's really nice for upcoming meetings or if it's something that's time sensitive. So you can enable that here as well. Under privacy, this one I would definitely recommend that you take a look at. Under privacy, you can indicate whether you want to be available and therefore your profile be searchable across the entire platform, so that's everyone, or only those in a shared group or mentoring program. So definitely I recommend if you select no one, then we won't be able to see you in the mentoring program. So I definitely recommend at least having only those in the shared mentoring program selected. Again, if you're interested in meeting one-off with students who are requesting to meet with you, you can totally do so, and you would just indicate here that you would want to be available to everyone. Okay, please stop me at any time if you have questions. Next is availability. So here is where you can indicate, are you available? You'll fill out this part as part of the registration process, which we'll go through, but you'll see here you have the option to, are you open to meet with others in the community? So the difference between these two is your profile searchable and can it be found under this Explore the Communities tab? And under availability, are you available to meet with students? So you can be searchable on the platform, but not open to meeting with students, if that makes sense. So under programs availability, this is where are you willing to be a formal mentor and how many mentees are you open to mentoring simultaneously? So what's important to note about this, you'll fill this out automatically when you register for the program. But if you want to edit this, so say you're feeling really ambitious, like I want 8 mentees as part of the career coaching program, and sometime before you're actually matched with mentees, you realize, oh, that's kind of a lot, I want to edit that, this is where you would do that. So one of our goals of the program is that every coach will have a student and every student will have a coach. So if you do indicate that you are interested in meeting with more than one student, you can indicate that here, and it'll just depend on how many students sign up for the program. You may not get as many mentees as you are hoping for. Okay, so under accounts, this is basically time zone. Just make sure this is synced appropriately. I know for some coaches, this has been defaulting to other time zones, so just make sure that's looking correct. You could change your email address here, password. Calendar, this is something I would recommend. I will walk through how the scheduling meetings go. Sorry, I refer to appointments. That's what I refer to for myself when students meet with me. But one of the goals of the platform is to help make it as easy as possible for your student to connect with you. So one of the ways to do that is that they can schedule meetings through Cal Poly Career Connections. And the way that they will do that is once you are officially matched, I'll walk through what your mentoring hub looks like. But what you can do is you can sync your profile, or your calendar, excuse me, with Cal Poly Career Connections so that it only shows your availability based on your calendar. So I'm really hoping, I would highly recommend that you do this. I really hope that you will, just to make it as easy as possible to schedule. You can sync your calendar, but still say that you're not available on Mondays, just because those days are typically really busy for you. So it will just look at your availability on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If you wanted to, the last month of our mentoring program is in March, so you can have your final available date be at the end of March so that no students schedule with you in April if you wanted to do so. You can have any details about your schedule here, like I don't want anyone to book within this amount of time. I need more than 24 hours notice, things like that. And then down here is where you can select maybe certain dates you know that you're not going to be available, even though your calendar doesn't indicate that. Let's just say for holidays or specific days that you just don't want to be available at all, you can do that here. For contact information, you can use your phone number if you choose to do so, and then that is all for your calendar settings. So I highly recommend using Calendar for scheduling. I hope to make that as easy as possible and really to help decrease that barrier of students really reaching out and following through and connecting with you. You'll notice here on your preferences, there's also a matching quiz. And what the matching quiz is for the larger platform, not for our program. So if you are interested in meeting with others in the community across Cal Poly's campus and other alumni as well, you can use this tool to explore other alumni. Then you would want to update your matching preferences for what types of people are you interested in connecting with. So you can add location, industry, job area, or like job function, some of those pieces so that the platform will automatically suggest people that you can connect with. You'll notice here that you are never, through the Explore the Community, you're never able to see other students. You're only able to see other alumni, and that really is just to protect students' privacy. And really, we don't want Career Connections to be used for recruiting. We want it to be specifically used for mentoring, and so that's why you aren't able to search for students' names and information. So this is what the general overall profile or the larger platform looks like. These are all the alum that have signed up to be in here. Okay, so hope you all are still with me. I want to make this as helpful as possible. And again, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions when you actually get in there and start doing this. The other piece that I want to make sure that you are doing as your second step once you've updated your profile and your notification preferences and your calendar is to actually join the career coaching program. So in order to do that, you'll select this Programs tab. You'll see before you join, you'll see all of the programs that are in the system. Luckily, it's pretty easy. There aren't many. You'll select the Orfalea Career Coaching Program. And you will, over here, there will be an option to join the program. When you join the program, you'll be asked a series of questions like your concentration area, your industry, some interests that you might have outside of work, some things that will help us pair you with students. So once you enter into the program, this is what you will see. There's not a lot happening here. You can always post discussion questions on the discussion board, and then I will be adding resources periodically to both students and to coaches. So my goal is that this is a place for you to find information maybe about resumes, career fairs, upcoming events, those types of things, so that a lot of times with career exploration or helping students, find opportunities is just also knowing kind of, oh, well, there's a career fair coming next week. Those types of things that you're probably not in the loop about anymore, and I want to make sure that you feel like you have resources to be able to share those with your students. So I'll be updating resources here as well for both students and coaches. On my end, so let me pull up my admin profile. So on my end, when you join the program and students join the program, then I'm able to do a bulk match. So that's taking into account the information that you entered when you joined the program and the students entered when they joined the program. It is blind matching. So what that means is that students are not selecting their career coach. And I want to explore that opportunity in the future, but for now, I found that oftentimes students use very limited criteria when selecting career coaches, meaning they will look to see where you work or what your job title is, and if that's interesting to them, then they would say, oh, this is the person that I want to meet with, which is great, and I want to give students that opportunity to be able to do that. But I found that a lot of times, especially in specific industries, or if you have a title that maybe is a little bit different, it's really hard for students to know what you do unless you have a job title that's very recognizable, right? And so I want students to pair on things, the criteria that we ask about, rather than them selecting, just so that they maybe broaden their perspective of an ideal career coach, if that makes sense. So I'm hoping to explore the possibility of allowing students to at least indicate which coaches they would be interested in being paired with, but for this round we're doing blind pairing. When I do the bulk match, it basically indicates how compatible you and your student are, and I'm able to adjust if there are matches that aren't very compatible. So we're going to figure it out. This is the first iteration using this software, so that's something that we will continue to explore, and I really welcome your feedback. Now, after you are matched, you will receive an email that says you've been matched with your student. The student will receive a very similar email. And in your, go back to this alumni page, you will see in this little envelope up here that is where you will get the notification that you've been matched with your student. Unfortunately, this envelope never has like a new notification indication, so it's a little hard to know if you've gotten a new message. That's why I kind of recommend, having either email notifications or text notifications so that you can get in the software in a timely manner if somebody does message you. So this is your mentoring hub, and this is where we have there will be an introduction that I send out to both of you, and it really will be on the student to schedule that first appointment. You are more than welcome to reach out if you don't hear from them. My piece of advice is don't ever feel like you're working harder than your student. And this is something that we will be helping students with in our mandatory orientation for them. But I think a lot of you really care and you want to give back, and you've dedicated this amount of time. And if you find that your student is not responsive, you can reach out after a couple of days. And if you don't hear anything, then let me know, and I can see if I can find another student to pair you with. So I really want to draw a hard line for students that they need to be responsible for reaching out, and that you really you can try, but that's ultimately on the student. So thank you, Janice, for your question. Our email's only sent here, such that we have to look here for messages. Great question. So when you receive a message, you automatically have the notification setting on your profile to receive an email. So it will say, you've received a message in Cal Poly Career Connections, and then it will direct you to check it here. So it is going to ultimately direct you back to the software, but you will receive an email notification that somebody did message you. You can turn off that notification or enable text notifications instead, whichever you prefer. Yeah. Any other questions about this piece? I will be monitoring how many of you are able to make connections, and I really do ask that you utilize this feature to schedule and to host meetings, because that allows me to just to keep track. Are you meeting? Are you communicating with your student? I'm able to run analytics on that, and then reach out if I see, oh, hey, they haven't met for the first time yet. I can check in and really monitor the health of your mentoring relationships in the program as a whole. So within your mentoring hub, you'll also see there's a couple of really great features here. So one is to propose a meeting. So this is how we're going to instruct students to schedule an appointment with you. And this will also trigger an email notification to you based on just the automatic preferences within your profile. So if I were, let me go back over to my student account. Whoops. So many tabs. Where did it go here? I think it's in Firefox. Okay. So if I were to go into my student view here, I'm matched with Cameron as my formal mentor, and I've said, hey, you know, this is your opportunity to reach out. I'm looking forward to chatting with you. What I will do then is I will propose a meeting. And if you have synced your calendar, then this process will be pretty easy. So here we have a number of local coaches, which is really great. I know it's always really special to be able to meet in person. If maybe in your messaging with the student before they schedule a meeting, you can indicate that you are local and that you are available to meet in person. For those of you that aren't, there's the option that a student can suggest either an online video call or a phone call. I really would encourage utilizing online video, and this is what I will be suggesting to students as well, just because it's a little bit more personal. It's already hard establishing that connection when you aren't meeting in person, but then also just to be able to see and connect with one another makes it a little bit more personalized throughout the process. So I can select that I want to do an online video call. And based on Cameron's availability, it looks like he has availability on, let's do Wednesday. And he has some, mostly in the morning, available on Wednesday. So if I wanted to suggest a meeting, I can say I'd love to meet at 9:30 on Wednesday. And then I can add notes here. If I say for a student, I'll be indicating that I want to talk about these specific things. I'll review the goals with you as well so that you can kind of see there's mentor or coach-facing goals and then student-facing goals. So I'll show you those so you can see what that looks like on both of your ends. So if I wanted to add any notes here, then I can send this request. You will have the opportunity on your end. So here I received an email notification that a time was proposed for this meeting. But if I go into my message center, whatever you want to call this, then you'll see here it says, see, I was testing all of this, Mallory proposed a meeting. So then I could view that meeting that the student proposed, and I can see, okay, Wednesday, 9:30, that works. I can, it's confirmed. So I could do that, or I guess by selecting that, it's automatically confirmed. Or you can reschedule here and propose a different time. So I also recommend that students sync their calendar so that you can see their most up-to-date availability. I'm hoping this will make it a little bit easier to schedule. I know especially so many of you are really busy. You also, I didn't show this feature, but you can also just manually put in your availability on Cal Poly Career Connections instead of syncing with your calendar. So if you don't feel like your work or personal calendar is going to be the best way to find what's available, you can say, hey, I'm setting aside, you know, my lunch breaks next week to be available for a student to chat. So you can indicate that manually in People Grove, or in Cal Poly Career Connections, excuse me. People Grove is the larger software company. All right, so I'm going back to my mentoring hub, and I want to review goals, which are basically, we will have goals set up manually, or excuse me, automatically for both coaches and students, but I want to make sure that you are able to edit your goal based on your conversation with the student. So let me actually go into, the software has a bug right now, so it's not showing the goals that I set up on the back end. So let me go into my admin profile, and then I can show you what goals I've set up. So my goals for mentees are based on the month that you are in. So it's based on a certain amount of weeks here. You'll see this is the weeks since you were originally matched. But you'll be able to see all of these goals right away. In theory, they're working on it, so hopefully that'll be ready to go by the time we match you. But here we have connect with your mentor for the first time. So this is the immediate goal that a student will see once they've been paired with you. And what we've asked students to do is we want them to ask you to do an informational interview. So we want them to ask you about your role. What are your responsibilities? What does a typical day look like? What were you involved in either when you were a student, or what helped you really be successful in your career? What's one piece of advice you would give to yourself as a college student? How did you decide on your career path? So we really want to empower students to take ownership over the meeting and then also just get to know you a little bit better as their coach. So we really are trying to provide students with resources to be able to drive these conversations so that you don't have to do a lot of that work, which I know a lot of you were doing in the past. So here we have update your resume and review it with your mentor, and I actually need to change all of this language to coach. The system defaults to mentor, so that's why I apologize. I know it's confusing using them interchangeably, but we will, for all student-facing information, we will be using the word career coach. So we have develop an elevator pitch, connect on LinkedIn and discuss LinkedIn strategies, conduct a mock interview with your career coach, learn about networking, and then at the very end of their mentoring relationship, they'll be sending you a thank you email, and then we gave them a little bit of tools to be able to do that. So on your side, the goals are the same and they mirror the goals that we've set up for the student, but what I will do is I will provide resources to support you in helping students with those goals. So one example is, you might know your own resume back and forth, but you might not feel really confident in coaching a student on this is what a resume should look like. And so what I want to do is help provide resources to support you in those things. And so, for example, I'm back on the mentor facing page. So this is what you will see as a career coach in here. If you look at the goal, review student's resume and give feedback. If I click on more detail here, I have included, need a refresher on resume best practices. Here's a handbook, and then on our Career Center or Career Readiness Center webpage, we have a number of resume templates that you can direct students to that will, this is just hugely valuable, honestly, for you to know in general to direct students here, but we have resume templates based on concentration. So that's something that we want to make sure you're aware of as a career coach. So we'll make sure to include a lot of resources for you and strategies in order to help achieve that goal. So if you're doing a mock interview with your student, we will put in sample questions for you. We will kind of link you to a feedback sheet on how to give feedback on a mock interview. So really our goal is to provide a little bit more structure and support to both students and to coaches so you feel like you can really succeed in your role. So once you have achieved a goal, you can select that you've completed this goal, and then that will again help inform me that you and your student are making progress towards your goals. If you and the student want to completely delete all of these goals and set up your own goals throughout the mentoring relationship, then you totally can. So I really want students to feel like the goals are relevant to them and they are working towards what it is they want to get out of this relationship. And so that's something that we'll be doing in the orientation for students, is making sure that they feel empowered to identify what it is that I want to learn through this experience, and how will I know that this has been really valuable and rewarding. I think a lot of times students feel like, oh, well, I asked them about their job and I got feedback on my resume. I don't really know what to talk about next. Or, oh, I learned more about my career coach's job and it's not really that interesting to me, so I don't know why I would talk to them anymore, right? And really we're trying to get away from that purely transactional, like leveraging network relationship, which is important and valuable, but that's not really what we learn, how we grow the most from a career coaching or a mentoring relationship. It's really much, much more than that. And so that's what we want to help students realize is the value of learning from somebody's experience. You are not just your job title or your industry, right? You have a lot of experience to share. So this is some of the things that we've been working on internally to help facilitate the program. And then one thing that I want to note is sometimes especially if you are meeting offline, maybe you are in person for a number of you local alum and executive partners that are in San Luis Obispo, you might not necessarily be utilizing this tool as much to facilitate your meetings, but I want to make sure that you still are scheduling them through the platform. I think it'll just make it a lot easier to track how you're doing. It'll still be a resource that you can use to schedule. So again, if you are meeting in person, you can still do that through this tool, through your synced calendar, but you'll just select that you want to meet in person versus utilizing a video call. One thing that I haven't yet mentioned is that you can do video chatting through the platform. So once you schedule your call, then you will get your reminder beforehand. You log into Cal Poly Career Connections. You're ready to chat with your student. You can select this button, and that will initiate the video call. What's kind of funky is if a student is initiating a video call with you, it won't automatically pop up when you log in. You still have to select that green camera icon, right? So just make sure, basically what it will do is in your message system here, it'll say, oh, Cameron initiated a video call, and then you go in here and then you select that green button. So some of those things I think are still not super user-friendly, but they are, we're working on it. Hopefully, with this company, they'll continue to make improvements and make it a little bit easier. If you do ever have any questions about something within the platform, you can always go to this question mark button up here. There's online resources. I will walk you through setting up your profile, managing your calendar, all of those things. So that hopefully will be a valuable resource. Also, if you find that you're having technical issues, you can report any issues that you're having here as well. So that is kind of a general overview of the software and how we'll be utilizing it in combination with this program. My goal is really that students aren't using this as aren't chatting with you as the primary method of communication. So I really want to encourage you, if a student you find they're messaging you a lot and asking you questions here and not setting up a meeting, I encourage you to say, hey, I'd love to just set up a time to talk about it. It'd be a little bit easier to answer your questions rather than utilizing the message feature. I think that could be a really great tool for quick questions. It's a great way to stay in contact with your mentee, but I really want to promote that face-to-face, that in-person or video connection so that you're able to really build that relationship. In terms of timeline and next steps, so we're currently doing targeted student outreach right now. I think we will have a large number of transfer students in the program, which I'm really excited about because they have just started at Cal Poly. They're transitioning to what it means to be a student and where their classes are, but they also are thrown directly into recruiting season for internship search. And so we're really trying to help students get connected to this, help transfer students get connected to this program so that they can have somebody that's just there for accountability and helping them navigate this job and internship search process, as well as just getting connected to Cal Poly and succeeding in college. And I think so many of you will have such great perspective and insight on that. We are also directly reaching out to third-year students to participate in this program. So we are doing that now. We will have our student orientation next Friday, and then immediately after that, we will be pairing you all with your student or students. One thing, I think this happens every year, is I anticipate getting a number of students that sign up and then having some drop-off for those that actually show up for the orientation. So we might be doing a second round of outreach to a wider pool of students. So just know I will definitely keep you in the loop if we have more spaces. My goal is to serve as many students as possible, and so if we have more spaces, you don't get matched right away, I will definitely be in contact with you as we do a second round of outreach for students that might still want to participate and miss that original orientation. In terms of timeline for the program, so you'll meet for 6 months. The program ends in March. I'm hoping to do kind of check-in surveys, or I know sometimes it's really hard to take this time out of your schedule, but I want to find a way to get feedback from you periodically. So I'm thinking about doing quarterly surveys every 3 months, just to, so I guess that would be 2, to check in with you and see how it's going. So you can keep an eye out for that probably early January, and then at the end of the mentoring program. We will also be having a kind of a wrap-up awards ceremony, a thank you for participating in an end-of-year event. So I will make sure, I know a lot of you that aren't local are always looking for a great excuse to come down to San Luis Obispo. So please, I will send out a save the date as soon as I have that scheduled, and we would really love, I'm going to invite both coaches and students that participate in the program to attend. So that will be something that we will do to wrap up the coaching program at the end of the 6 months. If you are planning to come onto campus and meet your student in person, if you make a trip down, always feel, if you aren't local, or if you are on campus, always feel free to let me know. I'd love to chat with you in person. But then also too, we will provide parking codes for those of you that are coming on campus to you as students. So you can always just give me a heads up in advance, and then I can send you the information on how to access that parking code. We really want to promote you coming on campus and meeting with a student in person. So if you ever are in town and do want to do that, just please let me know. Well, that was 50 minutes. I hope that was helpful and informative for you all. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you do have questions. I will give, maybe let's just spend a minute or two. If anyone has any questions, they could put it in the chat. I think the platform is pretty user-friendly and self-explanatory. There are things that are hard for me to know until we just get in there and match students. So I think that there will be a little bit of a learning curve on my end on how to make everything as streamlined as possible. I also don't want you to be inundated with emails, so please let me know how that's going. A lot of the emails are promoted to, what was I was just reading this question. A lot of the emails, you might get emails across the whole platform as well. So please just let me know if you are feeling inundated with emails. There might be ways that you can opt out of the larger platform, but not your program notification. So those are the things I'm just not quite sure what will look like right now. Good question. So does the prior parking code info still work? I would assume so. I don't think anything has changed if you already have the parking code. It should, but maybe I will, if you want to, you can just send me an email to verify, or I can follow up with you and let you know what that code is. But nothing has changed in that regard, so it should still be the same. And I know we have some already loaded on there for you all. Nice, thank you so much. And any other questions? I really hope that this is a rewarding experience, and I cannot tell you how valuable you all are, and students have such an amazing, for those students that really do show up and are engaged in these mentoring and coaching relationships, they speak volumes of the amount that they learn from you all, and I really, really cannot say that enough, how much I appreciate you all helping our students. Please feel free to refer. We'll probably be looking to grow the program over the years. I want to serve, like I mentioned, more and more students. So if you know of somebody that you feel like would be a really amazing coach and contribute to this program, we would love to have them. You can always give them my phone number or my email, and I'd love to chat. And with that, it doesn't look like we have any more questions. Thank you, Jackie. And again, reach out. Let me know how I can help and support you. I'll be adding resources to the program in Career Connections over the next couple of days, and I'll definitely keep in touch with you all via email. So with that, I talked way longer than I thought I would. I will let you all get back to your days, and I look forward to working with all of you. I appreciate it, and I'll stick around, and feel free to head out if you are, have places to go, but I will stick around in here just in case you do have any questions and you want to hang out a little bit longer. And then we'll get back to it. Hopefully the background noise wasn't too loud. It's been really fun seeing all of the students coming in for navigating through career fair prep. It's such a stressful time. I definitely feel for students. This comes so early in fall quarter. All right. Perfect. It doesn't look like we have any more questions, so I will definitely be in touch. I'm hoping we get a lot of students to sign up and that they are prepared to make the most of this connection with you. So have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will look forward to working with you all in the future. All right. Thank you.